What's going on, guys? It's RonnyPugs, and I got a bit of a different video for you guys today. In this video, we're going to be ranking every Spider-Man movie suit. I know this does include the Japanese Spider-Man, and I think that's the 70s Spider-Man show. Before this list, we're just going to be going through the movie suits because I haven't really watched those shows. I mean, I know of them, I know the memes, of course. But for this, I wanted to specifically focus on live-action film. And in this video, it's a bit different from what I normally do, as I usually go through a whole video where it's scripted and I rank it. I do sort of a countdown. In this, it's going to be freestyle. This is a live commentary, and we're going to be doing it through TierMarker. I've never made a TierMarker video on the channel, but I finally figured out a way to record my PC again, because when I did the Spider-Man 2 replay series leading into No Way Home, I was using my Elgato, and after that I wanted to play Spider-Man the movie game. But the thing is, my Elgato is finished. I tried to hook it up before this, I couldn't get it to work. And even months ago, when I was trying to replay Spider-Man the movie game, even on the PS2, it wasn't working. Even when I tried to record it on the PC, it was lagging. So I think my Elgato is done for. But I figured out how to record on my PC now using OBS. I didn't have it for the longest time because it didn't work on my previous laptop. But with all that out of the way, we're going to be ranking every Spider-Man movie suit in order from when they appeared on screen. So of course, we got to start with the Human Spider, or the Amazing Spider-Man. So with this costume, it's an easy one for me. I'm going to put it as a B, which is basically average. And the thing I like most about this is that it's got nostalgia, obviously, because I remember using this costume when I was playing Spider-Man the movie game when I first got it for the original Xbox. And it's a good take on a homemade design that I think is believable to make. It's an interesting take on the classic design. It's kind of cool too that in the film we see Peter drawing out this amazing suit in the suit drawing montage. But then we get to the wrestling part, and Peter's just wearing something like this. So it's a pretty cool starter suit. I don't think it's the best homemade suit, which kind of spoils the list for the rest of the video. But yeah, B for the Human Spider. Next, we have the 2002 Raimi suit. So, personal opinion here, I like this costume more than the Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3 suit. And I say that mainly because this is the different version of the Raimi suit that not many people know about, or at least think about, because when you think the Raimi suit, people think of this version right here. This was the one that people wanted in Spider-Man PS4 the most, so I think from the factor that I like this costume just because it's a bit different, it's not bad, and sometimes I flip-flop between whether I like this version or the Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3 version more, but I do think it's inferior to the Spider-Man 2 version, which is why I have to put this one in S. I'm going to try to limit the S tier to maybe 2 to 3 suits, but I can't say that the 2002 version is just as good as the Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3 version, because it seems like they took an already great design in the 2002 version and they improved upon it for future films. I will say that it's a bit more nostalgic seeing the 2002 version, mainly because it seems like that film came out years before Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 3, but regardless, I think the Raimi suit is the best live-action suit that we've seen so far. You can argue that, oh, it's not that comic accurate because it doesn't look like something that Peter would make. Well, it looks good for the film. I understand the factor in that the suit looks expensive, but they literally perfected it with this one, so for that, I have to give the Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3 suit the S tier slot, and the 2002 version the A slot. Next, we have the final of the Raimi suits, so something that's going to be a bit controversial for this video. I know people are going to say, how could I rank it this low? How could I say these things about it? But for me, the Spider-Man 3 suit is average. It's in the C category. It's below the B. So for that, I don't think it's a bad costume. In fact, I'm really hoping that we get this in the next Spider-Man game, which obviously we should. I've seen the mods for it already on the PC, and I actually did really like this costume growing up. But the thing about it is that it's lazy, in the sense that it's just a recoloring of the classic design. And the thing is that the thing that bothers me most about this costume, they changed the logos, but for some reason they didn't use the classic Symbiote logos, kind of like how they did for Venom. Because what they could have done, and I brought this up in a video, is that they could have taken the classic logo and cut it off kind of at the part where the webbing meets the blue. So I think that would have looked pretty neat. And even if they didn't want to do that, they could have, of course, wrapped the entire logo around. But the thing I do like about this costume is that it laid the ground for future costumes like this, because prior to Spider-Man 3, I don't think anybody ever thought that you could redo the Symbiote costume just as a recolored version of the classic suit. And Spectacular Spider-Man, I think when he first gets the Symbiote, it's just a recolored version of the classic suit, and then the more he wears it, it ends up turning into the classic comic version. And even in the Amazing Spider-Man video game, if you 100% complete that game, you get a black version of the Amazing Spider-Man suit. And even in Spider-Man PS5, people are saying that the next suit, when they do the Symbiote, it should be a recolored version of the advanced suit. So while I do like the costume, I don't think it's anything special, mainly because it's just a recolored version of the classic design. If they ended up using the Symbiote logos, I think it would look a lot better, but I do wish they would have worked harder to get the classic version on screen. And next, in my opinion, the worst suit on this list, the vigilante suit. I don't even need to think about this one. This one goes in the lowest category. This isn't even a costume, really. This is Peter Parker in his clothes plus a mask with glasses. Anybody could have figured out that this is Peter Parker based on the clothes. I mean, imagine if you see, I guess he didn't really have a name at the time, but let's say you see this vigilante out, he's fighting crime, you go to school like maybe an hour later, and Peter Parker's wearing the exact same outfit. So for that, I don't really like it. I kind of think it's lazy, and maybe in the Amazing Spider-Man, they were all like, oh, well, we forgot that we need to do this part of the origin story, so let's just whip up a costume real quick. Let's just put, a mask on his street clothes. I mean, it's kind of realistic, and it makes sense for the film given that he wasn't tracking down anybody besides Uncle Ben's killers at the time, but it's not really a suit to me. Like, this is boring. And next, another controversial take, which I think after this I'll have another controversial take. We have the Amazing Spider-Man suit. I'm going to put this one in A. I know people are going to say, how could you put this in A? It's ugly, because I think people hate on it the most because of the texture, and given the fact that it's not really the classic design, quote unquote, kind of like how the Raimi suit is, the Amazing Spider-Man 2, and even the Stark suit. I think it's a good redesign though. They wanted to do something different from the Raimi trilogy. The thing I kind of like about it is the soles, and I also like how the spider's broken up on the chest and the back. But the thing I don't like about this costume is the lack of a belt. I think it looks weird without it. And in the Amazing Spider-Man video game, they even include a belt that would have looked perfect on film, and they actually give it a reason for him needing the belt because he reloads his web shooters through it. I think it's a good suit though. It's a good redesign. And moving on, the reason that the Amazing Spider-Man 1 suit is an A is because I'm not really a fan of the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit, which is why this is another controversial take on this channel. I think it's kind of boring given the fact that it's just what the Raimi suit was with minor changes, and also the spider logos are way too low, at least on the front. Also, the colors are a bit too deep for a Spider-Man costume in my opinion. I think you should do like a bright red and then a darker blue to make it look good, but given the fact that these two colors, they just make the suit look completely dark sometimes, I don't really like. And also, I can't put it in A or S, mainly because this is based off the Raimi costume, and in my opinion, the Raimi suits look better than this costume, even the 2002 version. And I also think the Amazing Spider-Man 1 suit looks better than this one, so probably unpopular on the channel that I think the TASM 1 suit looks better than the TASM 2 suit, but that is my opinion on it. And moving on, we have one of my personal favorite Spider-Man costumes, and we do technically see this costume first in the MCU, because when Tony Stark goes to Peter's house, we do see the video, and I actually think that the homemade suit looks a bit different in Civil War than it does in Homecoming. But I have to put this one in S tier. This one might be a hot take. If we look at costumes that we think that Peter Parker could design that closely resemble the classic suit, this is the best one that we've seen so far on screen as far as homemade suits go. I like that it's also Scarlet Spider inspired, and that this looks like something that I could make. I also like that the goggles are on the suit for a specific reason, because Peter needs them for his spider sense. So I really like this costume. I think this was my most used costume in Spider-Man PS4. The one thing I dislike about it though is I'm not really a fan of the way the spider logo looks, although I think Peter Parker was around 15 at the time in the MCU when he made this suit, so kind of makes sense. But other than that, this is one of the peak homemade Spider-Man costumes for me. I absolutely love this design. It's a great take on the classic design and the Scarlet Spider suit from the comics, and overall, I love it. Next, we have the Stark suit. So, I've kind of gotten tired of seeing the Stark suit, mainly because these MCU Spider-Man costumes, they've kind of stretched out through the films and also through the Avengers films. I don't think it's a bad design, but I'm going to put it in B, mainly because there's other MCU Spider-Man costumes that I like, and they've also improved upon this design as the films have progressed. Now, when this suit first came out, I remember everybody was freaking out because it had the expressive lenses. The thing I don't like about the costume is that you can barely see the webbing sometimes, and even in this picture that was a part of the TierMarker for this, you really can't see it. And I know people say that, well, that's on purpose because in the comics, when you draw Spider-Man from far away, you can't really see the webs. That's complete BS. I think that's just a bad choice on the designer's part. It's an okay costume. I mean, it's just the classic suit. You can't really go wrong with it. But I do think that there's better MCU suits on this list, and I'm also really not a fan of the back logo. I haven't brought this up yet, but I don't really like when the back logo is just a circle with lines. And next, the MCU suit that everybody is tired of, the Iron Spider. I'm putting this one in C. I don't really care for it, and I also think that there's a better Iron Spider looking suit on this list. And the thing is that when this first came out, I didn't like it that much. I thought that the comic design looked better. But the more I've gotten to see it in the MCU, and when using it in Spider-Man PS4, especially during the Sunset, I like it. And the thing I like about this costume is that it gives Spider-Man his own identity still while being able to wear the iron armor. Because in the comics, I know Tony Stark makes a suit, obviously, and he does in the MCU as well. But he doesn't really look like Spider-Man in the comics. He looks more like Iron Man. This at least gives Peter his own identity still, and I also like how the big logo is Ben Reilly inspired, which, another hot take. I think the sensational Spider-Man suit in the comics is better than the classic suit. But overall, I've stopped caring for the suit the more that I've seen it. People were really tired of it by the time No Way Home came out. And I also really don't like how sometimes the blue, it either looks black or like a really deep navy blue. Overall, it's a decent design. I'm just tired of it. So I'd say the C category is mainly the I don't really care for these suits. Well, I can't really say that because I do like the Spider-Man 3 suit. But C's just like the category, I'll say. Next, we have a Spider-Man costume that doesn't really look like a Spider-Man costume, but that's the whole point of the suit. We have the Night Monkey suit. I don't really care for this at all. I'm going to put this in the D category. Again, it's kind of like the vigilante suit. It doesn't look like Spider-Man, even though there's specific reasons why it doesn't look like Spider-Man in the film. It just seems like this costume I don't really care for. I kind of like how the mask resembles like a knit hat. It's kind of like how the homemade suit looks because of the material on it. Again, I really don't have anything to say about this other than like it's like a tactical suit. This looks like anyone could wear it besides Spider-Man. I don't care for it. Next, we have my second favorite MCU Spider-Man costume, the upgraded suit. And you guys already know where I have to put it. I have to put this one among the elites. When this suit first came out, I was going back and forth between whether I like the Raimi suit as my personal all-time favorite suit or this suit. I think I have to give the edge to the Raimi suit a bit more just because of the nostalgia factor and the fact that it looks better as a movie suit and it's not really like a CGI mess. I'm not saying that the upgraded suit is. In fact, I think it looks better than the Stark suit and even the Iron Spider suit. But the thing I really love about this costume is the red and black, and I think they really improved on the Stark suit design for this costume. You guys know that I love red and black on a Spider-Man costume more than I love red and blue. And I also think the white spider on the back is a nice choice. I thought they just did that for the game, but they could also have done it because in Amazing Fantasy 15, I believe the back spider was like a light blue. So maybe they wanted to do like a different colored spider for this costume. I really love this design. I wish we got to see more of it in the MCU. It's better than the Stark suit and the Iron Spider for me, and so far it's my favorite MCU Spider-Man suit. Next, we have the first of 3 No Way Home suits. We have the black and gold suit. I believe that's what the suit was called. If it was up to me, I would have called it the reverse suit because he reverses the suit. I'm going to put this one... so it's either between C or D for me. Mainly because I don't care for it. But I feel like these are the Vigilante and the Night Monkey suit. Those are the worst Spider-Man costumes we've seen on screen so far. So I'll put it in C. I mean, it's not that much different from the Spider-Man 3 costume. I like that it's black and gold because it reminds me of the Uptown Pride suit from Miles Morales. And even during the film, you can kind of see the circuits throughout the Stark suit. Not Stark suit, but the upgraded suit. I don't really care for it though, and if we look at any suit on this list that was included in the film just to sell toys, it's this one. It's an okay design, and I do like the black and gold aspect of it, but overall, I don't really care for it. And next, we have the integrated suit. So when I first saw this costume, I really didn't like it, and I thought they just remade another Iron Spider suit, but in the film, this is actually the only like metal part of the costume I would say is the spider logos, because he takes the restraints away from Doc Ock, and that's how he makes this new suit. It looks really good on film. I like that it's black and red, and that it's a mix between like a cloth suit and an iron suit. For that, I'm gonna put it in. You know what? Let's put it in B. Mainly because you have two classic designs right here. You got the OG, and then you have a really good redesign of the classic design. This isn't as good as the upgraded suit in my opinion, and it's also just another variant of the Iron Spider suit. I think that if it was more Ben Reilly inspired, I would like it, but I'll put it in B. Like, it's a good looking suit in my opinion. It looks better than the Iron Spider suit, so for that it gets the B category. And with that, we move on to the final suit, and it's actually a good thing I put the integrated suit in B, because I'm going to put this one in A. We still don't have a name for this costume yet. I think people are calling it the N suit. When we look at classic Spider-Man designs on screen that are straight up like one from the comics, we got the Stark suit, the two Raimi suits, and we have the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit. This is the only one that looks like a kid could actually make it. And of course, we do see him making it at the end of the film, because he's got the sewing machine. I will say the one thing I don't like about this costume is how shiny the blue is. Maybe I just need to see it on screen more, because we really haven't gotten a glimpse of it other than this final swing and concept art. I do like how the logos are inspired from Tobey and Andrew's costumes. And overall, this is like peak classic Spider-Man. If we look at relatable Spider-Man, where it looks like somebody could make this costume and it doesn't look like, you know, there's X amount of budget for the film for it, this is the costume. I feel like a lot of people could make this in their room. So yeah, those are my rankings of the live action film Spider-Man suits. Let me know what you guys think of this type of video, because I've never done a TierMarker video. Also, share your rankings down below. I'll put the link to this TierMarker down below. And if you guys don't want to just type it all out, maybe you could tweet me a picture at RonnyPugs. I'm really curious to see how different our lists are and how close they could be as well. And as always, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe, follow my social medias, hit that like button. I will see you guys again in my next video.